Change garna chha. Good morning, everyone. Oh, mic wala थियो. Suniन्छ होला नि. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so today's topic is malaria. I'm Dr. Pratibha from Department of Pediatrics. So the name malaria is derived from the word mal and area, which means bad air in medieval Italian. This idea came from the ancient Romans who thought that this disease came from the horrible fumes in the swamps. So this is how the name malaria was derived previously. So it remains one of the world's most devastating human parasitic infection, and it affects over 40% of the world's population. And WHO estimates that there are 350 to 500 million cases of malaria worldwide. And in Nepal, the incidence now is about 4,000 to 5,000 cases annually, but it was previously very high, 15,000 cases annually, but it has now reduced to 4,000 to 5,000 cases. So before moving to the topic, we have to know the life cycle of malarial parasite. So the life cycle of malaria is a complex system with both sexual and asexual aspects. So the sexual cycle completes in the mosquito, whereas the sexual cycle in the human vertebrate. So we all know that the mosquito is the definitive host, whereas humans are the mosquito is the definitive host because sexual cycle completes in the mosquito. So a cycle of all species that infect human is basically the same. There is an exogenous sexual phase in the mosquito called sporogony, during which the parasite multiplies, and there is endogenous asexual phase that takes place in vertebrate or human host, that is called schizogony. So we all know that it is caused by the bite of infected female Anopheles mosquito, and the causative organism are the species of Plasmodium, that is Plasmodium vivax, ovale, malaria, falciparum, and knowlesi. Most commonly we know vivax, ovale, malaria, and falciparum. So this is the life cycle in short of malarial parasite. So exogenous section occurs in mosquito, whereas endogenous asexual in the human being. So when the mosquito bites the human, the sporozoites are released into the bloodstream, which affects the liver, which infects the liver cells. In the liver, it multiplies and forms seasons, liver seasons, from which the merozoites are released into the bloodstream. There, the merozoites attack the RBCs, and in the RBC, it again multiplies. In some species, the hypnozoites are formed in the liver, which remains dormant, which may remain dormant for many years and months, and it is the cause of relapse also. So in RBC, it multiplies, and then the sporozoites are released into the blood. I mean, the merozoites are released into the blood. In the blood, the gametocytes are formed, and when mosquito again bites, the gametocyte enter the mosquito. There they form the zygote, which is converted into ookinete, then oocyst, and it moves into the salivary gland of the mosquito, and sporozoites are formed, and the cycle continues like that. So this is the same. It shows cycle in the human and cycle in the mosquito. So we already discussed, and this is the summary of that. So okay, that's already been discussed. So this is also the same little elaboration, but it is basically the same, the human cycle and the cycle in the mosquito. So the man is the intermediate host, whereas mosquito, as I told you, is the definitive host because the sexual cycle occurs inside the mosquito. In the human cycle, we discussed the pre-erythrocytic schizogony, that is what occurs inside the liver. Erythrocytic schizogony, that occurs inside the RBC. gametogony, when male and female gametes are formed, and exoerythrocytic schizogony is the after it enters the mosquito, after it is gametogony is completed, so outside the RBCs. So we discussed this. Sporozoites are the infective forms. When a mosquito bites, the sporozoites are released into the body, and then what we discussed occurs. This is the same basically. Okay. So about the hypnozoites, as I told you, when it infects the liver cells, in the species of Vivax and ovale, the hypnozoites are formed, which is responsible for the relapse. So after that, it causes, what does the Plasmodium cause? It causes malaria, which we are discussing. The Plasmodium vivax causes benign tertian malaria. Why it is called benign tertian? Benign because it is rarely fatal, it is less severe form. And tertian because of the fever pattern. In the clinicals and all, we discuss about the fever pattern. Tertian fever because the fever occurs every 48 hours or it occurs every third day. So it is known as tertian. And the key feature is relapse because of the formation of hypnozoites. The relapse can occur in case of Plasmodium vivax. So during the treatment, we have to keep that in mind and give some hypnosides also, the medications which kills the hypnozoites also, so that relapse does not occur. So that we have to keep in mind in case of treatment. So Plasmodium ovale, it is similar to Vivax, but it is less severe than Vivax. Then Plasmodium malariae causes quercetin malaria. So quercetin because it is because of the fever pattern. You all know that fever occurs every 72 hours or every 4th day. That is why it is called quercetin. And Plasmodium falciparum, it causes malignant tertian malaria. Malignant because it is the most severe form of malaria, and tertian because of the fever pattern, but it is not necessary that the pattern is always the same. And the key feature is formation of rosettes in case of Plasmodium falciparum. Rosettes are the clusters of the RBCs. The RBCs form the cluster. Because it forms the cluster, it blocks the capillaries, and the blood flow to vital organs are compromised, which causes the complications. That is why it causes severe malaria. So complications like renal failure, cerebral malaria, encephalopathy, decreased consciousness, coma can occur in case of Plasmodium falciparum because of the blockage of the microcirculation. So these are the key features of 4 types of species which causes malaria. And in all, the early symptoms are common. First symptoms are fever, headache, chills, and vomiting. And the incubation period is around 10 to 15 days. And so the symptoms appear after 10 to 15 days after the person is infected. And if not treated promptly, complications may occur and may be fatal. So it is one type of tropical disease. And in Chitwan, it is very important to think of malaria also in a case of fever with chills, rigors comes. There are many differential diagnoses, so the symptoms may overlap. So we have to be very careful in taking history and approaching the patient of tropical disease. So there are clinically 3 stages. These are the typical 3 stages. That is cold stage, hot stage, and sweating stage. In cold stage, the chills and rigors occurs for around 15 minutes to 1 hour. It is caused when the RBC ruptures and merozoites are released inside the body. So the inflammatory markers are released when merozoites are ruptured in the bloodstream. That's why these symptoms occur, the chills and rigors occur, and it may be accompanied by nausea, vomiting, and headache. Another stage is the hot stage. In the hot stage, there is rise in the temperature up to 40 degrees or sometimes more also. And it may last several hours. It is very uncomfortable stage. The patient has high-grade fever and it is very uncomfortable stage. And after that, there is a sweating stage in which there is profuse sweating, and it concludes that episode of this stages. So cold stage followed by hot stage followed by sweating stage, which concludes the episode, and it occurs every 48 to 72 hours. That's why the intermittent pattern of fever of the typical intermittent pattern of malaria occurs like this: 48 to 72 hours. 48 hours in case of tertian and 72 hours in case of quaternary malaria. But this is not necessary that it can occur nowadays, especially because of availability of antipyretics. So it is very important to monitor the temperature very carefully. So you see in the wards and all, the sisters record the temperature and other vitals and chart it like this. So this is important to know the typical pattern of the fever. So you can see that in the first graph, it is the case of tertian malaria. The fever is occurring the spike of fever up to 40 degrees, more than 40 degrees is occurring every 48 hours. In second figure, it is quaternary malaria every 72 hours. And in falciparum, it is not necessary that tertian pattern is followed. It can be very irregular. High fever may occur in case of falciparum, which is the most severe type of, which may cause most severe type of malaria. So the typical non-severe uncomplicated malaria, we talked about that: fever, chills and rigors, cold stage, hot stage, and sweating stage, accompanied by headache, nausea, vomiting. So we have to rule out that, especially in the endemic areas. So in case of severe malaria, it is very necessary to diagnose the severe malaria, because it is a life-threatening condition, and we have to start the treatment promptly. So to diagnose severe malaria, first of all, there are various clinical and lab criteria, which is given by the WHO. So the WHO defines severe falciparum malaria as a patient with P. falciparum asexual parasitemia. So in blood, there has to be Plasmodium falciparum, and one of the following clinical features, that is impaired consciousness or coma, prostration, failure to feed, multiple convulsions, acidotic breathing, circulatory collapse, clinical jaundice with evidence of other organ dysfunction, other vital organ dysfunction, hemoglobinuria, abnormal spontaneous bleeding, and or pulmonary edema. And lab findings can include hypoglycemia, that is blood glucose less than 40 milligram per deciliter, then metabolic acidosis, that is bicarbonate less than 15 millimole per liter, severe anemia, severe normocytic anemia, hemoglobin is less than 5 gram per deciliter, hemoglobinuria, that is urine contains hemoglobin, hyperparasitemia, the number of parasite is more than 2% per 100,000 per microliter in low intensity transmission areas, or more than 5% per 250,000 in high stable malaria transmission areas, and renal impairment, that is serum creatinine more than 265 micromole per liter. So if these findings are there, then it is known as if one of the features is present, we call it as severe malaria. So these are mainly three forms of severe malaria, and others miscellaneous forms. So severe forms include cerebral malaria, severe anemia, and renal failure. And others are like multiple organ dysfunction, what we discussed just now, hepatic dysfunction, hypoglycemia, shock, which is also called algid malaria. If the patient presents with malaria with shock, that is cold, sweating skin, cold, clammy skin, so that is algid malaria. Pulmonary edema, fluid and electrolyte imbalance, vomiting, diarrhea is there, secondary bacterial infection is there, bleeding and clotting disturbances are there, or hemoglobinuria is there, black water fever. I'll talk about that in a while. So if these features are present, then these are present in severe malaria. So cerebral malaria is also one of the very important severe form of malaria. It may begin slowly or suddenly also, and it has very high mortality rate of 20%. And if treatment is done in time and appropriate treatment is done, the complete recovery is possible, and permanent disablement rarely occurs if treated in time. So another is severe anemia, and it may be fatal unless blood transfusion is done. Otherwise, it can cause, it may be fatal. So the patient can even die of severe anemia if not treated in time, if blood transfusion is not given. Another is renal failure. As I told you, because of the blockage of the microcirculation, renal failure can occur. So it is one of the severe manifestation of malaria. So the outcome is, if cautious rehydration is effective in most cases. So if we rehydrate properly, then it is effective. And sometimes dialysis may be required, and if present, it can have bad prognosis also. So why falciparum malaria is dangerous? We talked about these because it causes cerebral malaria, algid malaria, that is malaria with shock, and black water fever. Black water fever is, okay. So this is cerebral, shortly on cerebral malaria. So big cerebral malaria because central nervous system is affected. Brain as well as other parts of central nervous system, spinal cord may be affected. And it is characterized by diminished level of consciousness, coma, seizures, and paralysis. So you can see the child is in the extended as a opisthotonous position. So opisthotonous in an unarousably comatose child with cerebral malaria. So it can present with coma, convulsions, seizures, paralysis, and CSF count may be normal in these cases. So black water, what is black water fever? The urine, the color of the urine is black. That's why it is called black water. So why does the color of the urine become black? Because of the presence of hemoglobin in the urine. And hemoglobin is present in the urine because lots of RBCs are destroyed. We discussed the life cycle of malaria. So after the merozoites, after the parasites are multiplied inside the RBC, RBCs rupture and release the those merozoites inside the in the circulation. So during the rupture, many RBCs are destroyed. So that causes release of hemoglobin, which is excreted from the kidney, causing the black urine, and it can cause renal failure due to that. So this is black water fever causing renal failure. So these are some severe forms of malaria. And if in the endemic area, we have to think of these diagnoses. If a patient comes with depressed consciousness or renal failure or multi-organ failure, fever. So how to diagnose malaria? So we talked about the clinical features, everything, but as I told you, the clinical features overlap in many diseases. Enteric fever, mapani fever, bhaera aउँछ, headache bhaera आउँछ, chills and rigors may be present also sometimes. So careful history examination is very necessary. So in examination, in case of malaria, hepatosplenomegaly may be present, as in scrub typhus, as in enteric fever. In case of chronic malaria, there may be huge hepatosplenomegaly, a massive hepatosplenomegaly may be present. So careful examination history is very necessary. And during the diagnosis, these peripheral smear, quantitative Buffy's coat test, that is test, rapid diagnostic test, and polymerase chain reaction, these are the diagnoses which are specific for malaria. But if we suspect malaria, we don't only send these, we also send other investigations to rule out the other differential diagnosis or to rule out the complications of malaria. So first of all, supportive tests like complete blood count, secondary infections, platelets, so bleeding disorder, clotting disorder, as a complications like platelet, त्यसपछि PTINR, यो coagulopathy PT, prothrombin activated partial thromboplastin APTT, PT सबै हेर्नु पर्यो हैन. अर्को renal function test is very important because one complication is renal failure. So to rule out the complication, renal function test गर्नु पर्यो, liver function test गर्नु पर्यो. So those are the supportive tests. And definitive tests, the specific tests are peripheral smear, quantitative Buffy coat test, rapid diagnostic test, and PCR test, polymerase chain reaction. So peripheral smear is the simplest test, and it is a gold standard till now. It is a gold standard for diagnosis of malaria. So what we do, we make thick smear and thin smear. So I'm sure you have already studied this in previously also in basic science. So thick smear is to identify the parasite, and thin smear is to detect the specific species of the parasite. So thick smear and thin smear, and it also provides the load. कति RBC affected छ भनेर त्यो पर्सेन्टेज अहिले डिस्कस गरेको थियो नि त्यो. It also provides information on the parasite load, prognosis according to the load, and response to therapy also. Treatment दिँदै गर्दा हामीले follow up मा PBS हेर्दाखेरि response to therapy हेर्न सकिन्छ. So this is the thick and thin smear. So it is a very simple test but very important test. And this is the Plasmodium ovale in the thin smear. सबै स्पिसिसको एउटा एउटा स्पेसिफिक कुराहरू छ. सो त्यो हेरेर we diagnose which species is causing the symptoms. So another test is quantitative Buffy coat or QBC test. Questions how? Okay, so यसमा चाहिँ के गर्छ, सेन्ट्रिफ्युज ब्लडलाई स्टेन गर्छ एक्रिडिन ऑरेंज भन्ने स्टेनले, अनि डाइले, एन्ड इट इज एक्जामिन अन्डर द युवी लाइट सोर्स. सो यसरी क्वान्टिटेटिभ बफी कोड गर्न सकिन्छ. सो अनदर इज ऱ्यापिड डायग्नोस्टिक टेस्ट. यो धेरै सुनिरा होला आजकल हैन, कोरोना भाइरसको जस्तै यसमा पनि अब हामीले ऱ्यापिड डायग्नोस्टिक टेस्ट केको लागि गर्छ त, वी डिटेक्ट द एन्टिजेन्स by using these tests. So various kits are available which detect the antigens that is present in the parasite. So it can give very quick results, between 2 to 15 minutes my result आउँछ. Quick test हो र यसले हामीले एन्टिजेन डिटेक्ट गर्छ. For example, histidine-rich protein 2 for falciparum and parasite lactate dehydrogenase. यो टेस्टलाई चाहिँ अप्टिमल भन्छ, यो भाइभ्याक्सको लागि युज गर्छ हैन. So these are the rapid diagnostic tests that we do to diagnose the malaria. Another is polymerase chain reaction. So it is for the molecular diagnosis of the molecular diagnosis. It is very accurate, but it is expensive because the instruments are expensive and there is requirement of trained manpower and it is not available everywhere. So हामीले गर्ने भनेको RDT हो, ऱ्यापिड र पेरिफेरल ब्लड स्मेयर इज यहाँ गर्ने चाहिँ दुईटा टेस्ट हो है फर स्पेसिफिक डायग्नोसिस. अब अघि हामीले वी टक्ड अबाउट रिल्याप्स. सो रिल्याप्स अकर्स इन भाइभ्याक्स एन्ड ओभेल बिकज अफ द प्रेजेन्स अफ hypnozoids, and it may occur months to years after the initial episode. And radical treatment medication राम्रोसँग दियो भने hypnozoids are destroyed and relapse is prevented. So this is the diagnosis of malaria. And for the treatment, so treatment आउँदाखेरि first we have to know for every patient, if the patient lands up in complicated state in with severe malaria, complication छ, shock मा आएको छ, distress मा आएको छ, acidotic छ भने ICU admission is very important. We have to admit in ICU and monitor everything, stabilize the airway, breathing, circulation, fluid electrolyte balance गर्नु पर्यो, input output charting गर्नु पर्यो, virus monitor गर्नु पर्यो, shock मा छ भने shock को treatment गर्नु पर्यो. So if malaria is the strong suspicion, and treat side by side with malaria, but basic life saving measures हरु गर्दै गर्नु पर्यो. So first of all, we will discuss the treatment of uncomplicated Plasmodium falciparum malaria. So the treatment of choice for uncomplicated, यो चाहिँ uncomplicated है, falciparum malaria चाहिँ combination of 2 or more anti-malaria with different mechanism of action हुन्छ है. So पहिला हामीले quinine दिन्थ्यो हैन. So nowadays the treatment of first recommended treatment is ACTs भन्छ, त्यो भनेको artemisinin combination therapies. So artemisinin derivative सँग कुनै combination गरेर this treatment is required, and it has to be given for at least 3 days for optimum effect. So these are some artemisinin combination therapies which are recommended by the World Health Organization. hospitalization. So artemether plus lumefantrine भन्ने हुन्छ हैन. So this is available here also. अर्को artesunate plus amodiaquine भन्ने, अर्को artesunate र mefloquine. मैले डोज सबैको इन्क्लुड गरेको छैन है. You can see the book for that, and it is very difficult to remember those also. अर्को combination भनेको artesunate plus sulfadoxine and pyrimethamine and dihydromycin plus piperacin. So these are some artemisinin combination therapies, which is the first line treatment for uncomplicated Plasmodium falciparum malaria. And second line treatment failure भयो अथवा available छैन यिनीहरुको combination भने we can go to second line treatment. So alternative ACTs, which is known to be effective in the region, हामीले त्यो दिन सक्छौं. हरेक एरियामा it may be different also. So these are some second line combination: artesunate plus tetracycline, doxycycline or clindamycin, and this combination has to be given for 7 days. यो हेर तिमीहरु सम्झिन गाह्रो छ. और quinine, यो पहिला दिने त हामीले quinine नै थियो हैन. So quinine with combination of quinine plus tetracycline, doxycycline or clindamycin यो दिन सकिन्छ है. This is for uncomplicated malaria. Now for uncomplicated, or usually it is uncomplicated हुन्छ, Vivax र oval malaria को लागि ACTs त छँदैछ हैन. ACTs त छँदैछ. त्यो अर्को दिन सकिने chloroquine, that is 25 mg per kg base divided over 3 days मा दिने हो. यो 3 छुटेछ के भएर. So divided over 3 days दिने chloroquine 25 mg per kg, यो चाहिँ डोज सम्झिरहे हुन्छ हैन. And primaquine ले चाहिँ hypnozoites लाई destroy गर्छ. So primaquine has to be given along with chloroquine in the treatment of Vivax and oval. So primaquine को डोज चाहिँ 0.25 mg per kg base for 14 days दिने. primaquine एउटा छ 14 days दिने, chloroquine चाहिँ 3 days दिनु पर्यो है. For chloroquine resistant ACTs र primaquine दिने. अब सस्पेक्टेड केस छ, इन्भेस्टिगेसन गर्यो, पोजिटिभ आयो भने फाल्सिपारम हो कि नन फाल्सिपारम त्यही अनुसार ट्रिट गर्नु पर्यो. नेगेटिभ आयो भने, अब नेगेटिभ आयो तर कम्प्लिकेटेड छ, सिम्पटम मिलिरहेछ भने वी हैव टु स्टार्ट ट्रिटमेन्ट नेगेटिभ आयो पनि है. सो नेगेटिभ आयो तर साइन्स कन्सिस्टेन्ट विथ कम्प्लिकेटेड मलेरिया छ भने एन्टी मलेरियल ट्रिटमेन्ट सुरु गर्ने, अरु स्टेबलाइजेसन गर्ने, इन्भेस्टिगेसनहरु अरु रुल आउट गर्न पठाउँदै गर्ने. सो ट्रिटमेन्ट चाहिँ सुरु गर्न डिले गर्न भएन है. अब कम्प्लिकेटेड को चाहिँ अघि पनि यो सुरुमै डिस्कस भयो हैन. सो इट इज अ मेडिकल इमर्जेन्सी एन्ड आईसीयू केयर इज नेसेसरी. सो एयरवे ब्रिदिङ सर्कुलेसन को कुरा जुनमा पनि आउँछ हैन. एयरवे ब्रिदिङ सर्कुलेसन म्यानेज गर्नु पर्यो. सिभियर को केसमा फ्लुइड इलेक्ट्रोलाइट ब्यालेन्स गर्नु पर्यो. आईभी फ्लुइड दिने, आउटपुट कति भइराछ हेर्ने, इनपुट आउटपुट चार्टिङ गर्ने हैन. आउटपुट कम छ कि सबै कुरा हेर्नु पर्यो. एडिक्वेट फ्लुइड दिनु पर्यो. अर्को एसिडोसिसहरु छ कि एउटा ल्याब प्यारामिटर सिभियर को एसिडोसिस हो नि हैन. सो एसिड बेस ब्यालेन्स मिलाउनु पर्यो हैन. अनि वी हैव टु गिभ. अब सिभियर छ, पेशेन्ट कोमामै हुन सक्छ हैन. सो प्यारेन्टरल एन्टिमलेरियल हैज टु बी गिवन. सो आर्टिसुनेट 2.4 mg per kg IV or IM, मोस्टली IV नै दिनु पर्यो हस्पिटलमा. IM त अब IV एसएसै भएन भने मात्रै हो हैन. 2.4 mg per kg IV or IM on admission, 0 hour मा दिने, then at 12 hours, then at 24 hours, then OD. At least 24 hours हामीले प्यारेन्टरल दिनै पर्छ, अथवा जहिलेसम्म पेशेन्ट ओरल लिन सक्दैन प्यारेन्टरल दिनै पर्छ हैन. सो the drug of choice is artesunate. So if it is not available, so quinine can be given 20 mg per kg base, 20 mg base per kg IV infusion slowly dinu parcha. Then 10 mg per kg every 8 hours, and this treatment has to be given for at least 7 days in case of complicated. So in specific condition ma के गर्ने त प्रेग्नेन्सी मा कुनै दिन नहुने हुन्छ, जस्तो प्रिमेक्विन दिन मिल्दैन हैन. So यो चाहिँ स्पेशल कन्डिसन को लागि हो. So यो अब प्रेग्नेन्सी मा क्विनिन प्लस क्लिन्डामाइसिन, अब यु क्यान सी दिस है पछि बुकमा पनि. अब हेपाटिक इम्पेयर्ड छ, रिनल इम्पेयरमेन्ट छ भने डोज अलिअलि मिलाएर अलि घटाएर, किनभने कामै गरिरहेको छैन भने डोज एडजस्टमेन्ट गरेर दिनुपर्छ हैन. एन्ड सो कोमाहरु अब कम्प्लिकेसनमा आछ भने, सेरेब्रल मलेरिया छ भने वी हैव टु मोनिटर एन्ड रेकर्ड लेभल अफ कन्सियसनेस युजिङ DCS स्केल. टेम्परेचर मोनिटरिङ गर्नु पर्यो, रेस्पिरेटरी रेट, डेप्थ अफ रेस्पिरेसन, रेस्पिरेटरी फेलियर भएको छ कि छैन, पल्मोनरी इडेमाको फिचर्स सबै हेर्नु पर्यो हैन. एन्ड बीपी भाइटल साइन्स मोनिटर गर्नु पर्यो. Hyperpyrexia छ, temperature more than 40 छ भने it should be treated by sponging, fanning with antipyretic drug, preferably paracetamol सबभन्दा safe हो है, paracetamol दिनु safe हो. You can give rectal paracetamol also. अर्को convulsions आछ, seizure आछ, seizure management by using diazepam. अर्को hypoglycemic छ भने hypoglycemia treat गर्नु पर्यो हैन, by giving dextrose infusion. Severe anemia छ भने we have to transfuse the blood, transfuse the packed RBCs. And pulmonary edema छ भने positioning, propped up position राख्ने, diuretics राख्ने, oxygen दिने ट्रिटमेन्टहरु गर्नु पर्यो. Acute renal failure मा छ भने त्यसको management, mainly fluid electrolyte manage गर्नु पर्यो. Sometimes dialysis may be necessary. DIC मा छ भने clotting disorder हुन्छ, त्यही भएर vitamin K दिनु पर्यो. अर्को fresh frozen plasma हरु दिनु पर्छ है, and platelet may be required, platelet count comes छ भने. Acidosis छ भने bicarbonate may be any shock septic treatment fluid. So this is a complication ko management है. Simple way मा छ घाइमा पनि. अनि so for prevention, we all know to prevent malaria, we have to avoid the bites of mosquito. So for that, wear long sleeve shirts and trousers. Insecticide nets are used, especially in endemic areas. Repellents cream or use गर्न सकिन्छ. अनि swamps हरु छ, त्यहाँ mosquito breeding ठाउँहरु, larva हरु आउने ठाउँहरु छ. त्यो चाहिँ usually still water हरुमा आउँछ नि swamps हरुमा हैन, त्यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसमा larvicide हालेर त्यो destroy गर्नु पर्यो. एउटा त अनि hygiene maintain गर्नु पर्यो हैन, त्यो community level मा. अर्को prophylaxis, if it is indicated for travelers who travel to endemic areas, and the drugs used are mefloquine and doxycycline, or doxycycline. So it has to be started 1 week before and given up to 4 weeks after leaving the area to prevent the episode of malaria. So यति हो है. So symptom signs थाहा हुनु पर्यो. Causative agent, life cycle पनि याद हुनु पर्छ ल अलिअलि भए पनि.